What is up, Quaranteam? Thank you so much for watching this live video today. And if you're watching the replay, use hashtag Team Replay in the comments. This is day 130 of the income stream, which is pretty crazy. 100 days straight. Just so wild. And I'm so thankful you're here. So long as we are locked up in quarantine and dealing with this pandemic, I'm going to show up for you daily here, Monday, all the way through the next Monday. And happy Monday, by the way. So hope you all had a great weekend. Today we are going to do something a little bit interesting. We're going to dive into a tool, if not potentially more, to talk about how to dissect other people's websites and our own. Of course, we can use a lot of these tools to dissect our own websites. Sometimes we don't even know what's going on in camp, but it's important to know what's happening elsewhere so that we can figure out how to perform and do better and hopefully outrank and outshine the other competition. But I do want to talk about competition just in general and some just mindsets around that before we dive into some of these tools that may or may not help you. And again, this is just a fun, different thing that we can do because we can probably take this information and then after this, kind of do it all together. So anyway, thanks for being here. Income stream. This is amazing. Enjoy the intro. Let's go.
This is the income stream to achieve your dream, all while we keep it clean. This is the income stream. It's the kind of show where you can come and go, but then you leave inspired with no fee required. The income stream with Pat Flynn.
And indeed, there are no mistakes, just happy accidents. Very thankful you're here. Not sure what's going on with the playback there. Weird. Okay, anyway, no mistakes, just happy accidents. And that was a happy accident because I can figure out what's going on so that doesn't happen again later. But anyway, let's talk about competition. I don't usually use that word competition in the sense that, okay, here we go. We're going to try to find somebody and we're going to completely dissect everything they're doing and then just outrank them outright, right? In fact, back when I was doing this niche site duel challenge, let me know in the chat if you remember that. The niche site duel challenge was an interesting era where we were building websites publicly. And there was one website in particular that I built called securityguardtraininghq.com. This was back in 2010, 2011. I recently sold this website, by the way. I sold this business. But it was something that I was building live and publicly. And in 73 days, we were able to get it to #1 in Google for the term security guard training. And as a result, it was generating income from AdSense. And over time, it ended up making at most $3,000 to $4,000 a month, kind of averaged between $1,500 and $2,000 a month. But that was the case for 7-8 years. And then there was a person who reached out to me via email one day and said, hey, Pat, I was really digging your niche site duel website. I actually indeed created a competing website and I was able to outrank you in less than 73 days. Can I get featured on your website? Could I be on your podcast? And I was like, whoa. You have these superpowers, but I don't think you're using them in the right way. And I eventually had to do some stuff on my website to catch up again. And oftentimes we can get outranked sort of temporarily because of velocity and acceleration in certain tools and certain areas that Google's looking at. And then I was able to get it back. But just this person who was essentially holding my website hostage, essentially, he said he'll give me my ranking back if he let me on the podcast, which I was like, what? Are you serious? Like, that's like a thing that people do. And of course, I wouldn't want to have a conversation with somebody who did it for that reason. So anyway, I don't go and when I'm doing business, I don't like target people and I'm like, okay, I'm going to completely derail that person's life. I believe in the world of abundance. I believe that there's room for many to work together. Now, of course, when it comes to Google and rankings in YouTube and things like that, there's usually just one top spot and that's it. And of course, as a business owner, that's what I want to fight for and that's what I want to do. So all along the way, although there is quote unquote competition, I like to think of competition as also people who I can potentially build a relationship with. Because I've always found that even if I'm not #1 in certain keywords or categories or what have you, I can still do extremely well if I develop the right relationships. So just that's the first thing I want to have you keep in mind when it comes to competition is that, okay, well, even if we don't get to #1 and we don't outrank another website, in fact, you can get more love, more results if you develop a relationship with that person who is #1, right? So that's kind of the approach that I love to take. So that's mindset idea #1 related to competition. Number two, when we start doing this competition research, and this is especially for those of you who are just getting started, and your research is even less tool-oriented versus just who else is out there talking about this thing, and how long have they been doing it, and what kind of crowd do they have, and how much authority and exposure might they have online, and what are their accounts like on social, right? So if you're just starting out, it can be even worse. Meaning, again, we're talking about mindset here first. Meaning, oh, there's other people out there who are already doing the thing that I want to do better than me. Look at them. They're established. There's no way that I can compete with that, right? This is a mindset. Let me know if you've ever had that mindset as well. This is the mindset of I'm not good enough. The mindset of, well, somebody's already doing it. The mindset of I'm too late, right? And when you do competition research, a lot of times we run into brick walls because or just the crowd and the exposure and the popularity shows us that, okay, well, we're behind here. We're a little bit behind, right? But I will say we can always flip the script in our head, right? No mistakes, just happy accidents. We can always flip the script of, wow, there's too many people out there talking about the same thing as, wow, there is a market for this. There's proven that, if there was nobody there, then I would worry even more, right? There is a market out there to go into. And because we're coming in later than everybody, that's the other thing. Oh, I'm coming in too late. Because we're coming in a little bit later, we actually have an advantage because we're able to get a bird's eye perspective of what's going on, the lay of the land. And we can understand, okay, well, look at these people. They've been here for a while and they're doing it in such an old and archaic way. Maybe I can build something that's a little bit more modern, a little bit more contemporary. Perhaps there is just so many people talking about this one side of the thing. Well, we can go and come in and talk about it in a different angle or in a different position. Or we might have our own stories and superpowers and access to share that is unique in the space. And so we can approach it from that angle. So although there might be quote unquote competition, you have the idea of, well, there's people who have paved the way already for you to come in and come in even better. And we talked a little bit yesterday. I did some demonstrations about how we can, on Amazon, for example, use things that are already established to help guide us moving forward, right? Things like Amazon and looking at the 3-star reviews. We actually went in and did some 3-star review analysis yesterday. Why 3 stars? Because the 3 stars on Amazon tell us what people like and don't like. Oftentimes you'll see comments that are literally pros, and then they list them out, and then cons, and then they list them out. And this is information that we can use as we are getting started. In fact, this was a lot of research that myself and Caleb did when it came to the SwitchPod, right? So there's very, very specific competing products to our product, the SwitchPod. For those of you who don't know what this is, switchpod.co. You hold this with your camera on top. It's quarter 20 up here, so you can attach any camera, and then of course with just a snap, now it's in tripod mode, and it's sturdy. And we use specifically a lot of the information that we got from places like Amazon, where people are talking about these competing products, to make sure that we incorporate what people like into this product and remove what people don't like. And what a lot of people didn't like are the multiple joints. Some of them got weak. It started to droop over time. You couldn't really put a lot of weight on it, these kinds of things. So this made it very clear for people that who had these problems, hey, there's an actual solution. Again, we came in late, right? We just started our product in February of 2019 on Kickstarter. But because we knew exactly what our competition and the other people who were building tripods were going through, we were more likely to build something that was useful. And whether you're doing physical or digital, it doesn't matter. You can go in, find your competition, and figure out what they're doing that is useful and what they're doing that's not useful, right? Listen to the people, listen to the reviews, try to have connections with people who are in those brands and go, hey, what do you think's missing from this brand? And what might you prefer to see instead? So give me an emoji in the chat if you are understanding and following along in terms of the mindset related to competition. The idea that your competition can in fact turn into partnerships. People who perhaps because they're even further ahead can give you more results than you fighting so hard and working on these tools and doing a lot of these really repetitive things like collecting backlinks in a more, processed manner versus organically, or, working on a lot of the, an SEO and things like that are definitely important. But there's a lot of higher level, I think, bigger things that we can do that'll get better results faster than things like that. And then secondly, the mindset of, well, hey, Because people are there already, that means there's a market. And number two, we can dive into that market and understand a little bit more about those people. Cool. Thank you. Cynthia, Bernard, Adrian, Doug, Contempo, Nathan, Rex, Syed, Scooby Life, Tarun. Great. A lot of emojis coming in. I love it. The easiest way to go about doing competition and research is to literally just use Google, right? To use Google, we can use Google in many different kinds of ways. We can use YouTube. We can use Amazon. And we can just find out who else is talking about something similar and see what's working for them already, right? And there's a lot of tools that we can use beyond this, and I want to share with you one of these tools in particular. We might dive into a few more, but there's a tool from a friend named Neil Patel. And if those of you who know Neil Patel, if you guess what this keyword research tool is before I reveal it, feel free to share it in the chat. But there's a tool that Neil Patel came out with that is really, really great when it comes to competition. And we're gonna dive into this tool. It's free to use. And Neil Patel's a good friend of mine. He's been on the show before, and we can talk and dive into a lot more there and discover more about our audience, specifically related to potentially how to outrank them. But there's also a lot of other things that we can do. If, say, for example, you have direct competition, right? Whether it's a YouTuber talking literally about the same kinds of things, or a person who's blogging and has a website that directly aligns with your stuff, and they happen to be sort of a bigger person who has higher position. One of my favorite tools to use is Google Alerts. Google Alerts. In fact, if you haven't really dove into Google Alerts yet, I would highly recommend you check it out, because Google Alerts allows you to monitor the web for certain keywords. So I can look for mentions of myself on the web, but I would recommend looking at mentions of certain keywords. So if I create a keyword alert about how to start a podcast, and I create this alert, I can see specifically, and if I want specifics, I can put quotes around this, by the way. You see how it changed there? So there's how to start a podcast in the New York Magazine, which just came out, and India. And what's cool is I can create this alert. In fact, I can show options, and I can say, okay, I want this, at most once a week. I can have the sources be automatic or news or blogs or what have you. I like looking at blogs because then I can find other people, and currently there doesn't seem to be anything new recently, but I will then create this alert. And now, based on the email that you're signed in on, you will get an alert every time your competition or somebody talks about the same kinds of keywords as you. I like to also put my own website in here as well, just to kind of see who else is linking to me, who else is sharing my information. So if I type in smartpassiveincome.com, I'll see where I'm also mentioned. And I can, again, make sure you create these options, because you can actually have these come in as it happens. So if you are a news or more journalistic type person and you want to always catch the latest and greatest about something, set a Google alert with that topic in mind, or maybe your competition, and then that way you get some insights into the latest and greatest, and that'll give you inspiration, motivation in terms of other kinds of content that you can create. But a lot of people don't use this tool, even though it's free and it's readily available. This is a great way to even spot, if we want to call it spy on the competition, right? We can insert our competition's keywords or even a person's website and understand, okay, where else are these being talked about? I like putting competitors, quote unquote, competitors' websites into Google Alerts. I have Google Alerts set up on my other account, which is why I don't share it here, because there's a whole bunch of keywords that I don't want you to know that I do research about. But I'll put my competition in there, right? And that way, whenever my competition's mentioned, I can see, oh, they were mentioned in this blog post here. They were mentioned in this article here. And then what I can do is, should I choose to want to, which I do sometimes, depending on the authority level of that particular blog or that particular website where this competition was mentioned, I can then go out and establish a relationship with that person. I at least know that they're interested in that topic. I'm not going to go, this is what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to set these alerts with your competition, see where they're mentioned, and go, hey, I see you mentioned suchandsuch.com. Might you consider also adding my backlink to your webpage too? That's a very selfish way of looking at this, although people do that, and it can work if you get lucky, but there are some people who just really despise when people reach out with an ask like that. I would use this opportunity to go, okay, where else is this person mentioned? And how might I then establish a relationship with that establishment? Who wrote that article? And how can I, and this is why this works. When I dive into what I can do to serve that person who wrote that article, sometimes you might get an entire article written about you where there was just a mention for the other person, right? So you get a whole article, or at least I can develop, again, this whole thing about developing relationships, so key here. But it's almost like fishing, as Chris says, and I kind of like that. It's almost like putting your bait out there, but I don't like that terminology because it's like bait and switch. It's kind of a negative thing. It's not what we're doing here. We're determining where our competition is mentioned so that we can go in and actually have a better relationship with that company or the blogger or the author, right? And again, it takes some time, but this blogger or author might be interested to know that you exist because they also talk about your competition too. And perhaps if you can position it well, if you can establish this relationship, maybe you meet with them in person someday, you see they're going to a conference or are speaking at another conference, or maybe they have a book coming out, you can support them. However you want to add value, you can add value and connect with them, at least on social media, follow them. And that way, perhaps you might get access to an article that's written about you and only you, or at least be able to work with them or even partner with them. This is where the filtration comes in. At least they're interested in that topic if they're talking about your competition, right? So I like that sort of backdoor entry, if that makes sense. Tarun's asking a good question here, which is, question. What if our niche is a new niche with very few content competition out there? So this is another question. You might be going and doing research and you're like, wow, I guess I am the only one really here. Oftentimes, I would call that a yellow flag. Right? A yellow flag. It's not a red flag. It's not like, oh, you should get back away from that. But I worry because there's probably a reason people aren't talking about it, right? Or there might be, right? Maybe people have tried to dive into that and it didn't work. This just means we need some further investigation. And make sure to stick around. If you're coming in today, thank you so much. Again, we're dissecting our competition, which is essentially what we're doing here. We're talking about a lot of initial, easy, free ways, just using Google and Google Alerts to determine, okay, what's our competition talking about and what might we do to better outrank them or build better relationships with them. I like that thought, right? Instead of trying to, quote unquote, outrank your competition, how might we out-relationship that competition, right? I love that approach. And that's kind of the way that I love doing business. How can I create stronger bonds with these connections of these partners and these websites and these authors out there? Anyway, back to your question, Tarun, which was, again, what if your niche is new? The analogy is sort of, do you remember the Segway, right? Remember when that was announced? You might not remember, but I remember when it was announced. It was like, we're supposed to revolutionize the way that walking is done. And you see like the reveal and there's this thing and you're like, oh my gosh, we're never going to have to walk anymore. Everything is going to change. This is brand new. Nobody's ever created anything like this before. Wow. And then of course now all we see Segways, we just see mall comps and tourism places at the beach. That's it. So the Segway, which was supposed to revolutionize walking, they were the only ones in that space. Because they were the only ones, they were a testing ground. And we found out that that wasn't exactly what people wanted, right? So the Segway, right? We don't want to be the Segway, but it just means we need to do further investigation, Tarun, so that we understand that, okay, there is indeed people out there. Now, the way that you would have to do this is go outside of your niche one ring or one concentric circle and find out, okay, well, let's find an audience that is, in the same camp, right, at least, or would have some sort of segment within that would be interested in this more finer tuned, more niched topic, if that makes sense, right? Cool. A lot of y'all like that special effect. That's one of my favorites. I'm trying hard because I got buttons here that allow me to do this. But if I do this, and then I look down, since you're close up, it removes the effect. So I have to try and get back to this button. This button. There we go. To the right button from there. Okay, cool. So let's dive into this tool that I wanted to share with you. And it's a tool by Neil Patel. I didn't catch to see if anybody mentioned this, but we talked about Google Alerts already and using your competition in there, and just so that you can figure out when they're mentioned and how you might be able to build better relationships, right? Out-relationship your competition. So this is the tool that I was going to recommend, and it's called Ubersuggest, right? In fact, if you just look up, the way that you would get here is if you go to Google, because it's not Ubersuggest.com or IO, it's Ubersuggest Neil Patel. And Neil Patel will take us to Ubersuggest here. So it's neilpatel.com/Ubersuggest. This is free to use. You can sign in with Google so you can get more information. In fact, that's what I'm going to do right now. So let's sign in here. Okay, so I'm in. This was free to use, right? This is free to use. Neil Patel loves offering free things to get more eyeballs on his brand, to spread the message, and here I am spreading his tool now too. Neil's great. He is a fantastic person who knows a lot about keyword research and outranking. You know, he's built multiple businesses worth millions of dollars, and he's great. So how might we use this tool? In fact, we should be using this tool for ourselves. You can actually set up, if you go to these different places, there's Ubersuggest, there's Traffic Analyzer, Seo Analyzer, and you can add your own keywords. You can create a project for your own website so that you can determine more about what's happening sort of under the hood, if you will. And it'll give you some insight in terms of, okay, well, how many backlinks might you have gotten and where are they coming from? What's performing well? What should you do more of? What should you do less of? And things like that. So what we can do here is actually, let's go to Ubersuggest first. And I'm going to type in my own website, smartpassiveincome.com. And we're going to see what comes up. Smartpassiveincome.com. I have the Ubersuggest Chrome extension installed, which is very helpful in so many ways. So you can only use this 3 times, and then then you have to pay. Okay, well I've been using this. I guess I didn't know that. And look at this. We've took a little bit of a hit recently with most people once the pandemic really started. But you can get some information here. And this is, if you want to do this, I think you might have the ability to do it for free or get a free trial for it for a certain period of time before you do it, or have a daily count of how many times you can do this. So yeah, it seems like there is a daily limit, which is okay. Chris says free-ish. Okay, but anyway, yo, Mike's homie yourself. Thanks for the vid for my 200,000 subs. You made my day. Super chat coming in really quick. 130 lives in a row. A legend. ESL power. Thanks for your support. Peace and love. So Mike's homie ESL, who helps teachers with learning second language, just is doing awesome there. Thanks for the $50. And I appreciate you for that. That's super cool. So let's go back to the computer here. And you can put your competition's web information here as well. So if I were to go to, for example, let's actually put neilpatel.com into Traffic Analyzer. And you can see that he's actually picked up since the pandemic started, which is pretty cool. And what I love going into is some of the top pages. So this is what I look for first. What are the top performing pages on another person's site, right? The Destiny show's asking, out of curiosity, what SEO tools do you use? We use Ahrefs, ahrefs.com, but it's extremely expensive. It's about $99 a month, and I don't want to share that here because it does have a very overwhelming sort of component to it, and also it is very expensive, and I want to share things that we can at least get some access to today. There's other tools that I want to share with you that'll share a lot of the same kinds of information, but I just like Neil Patel's stuff here because it definitely shows off a lot of things. But if I go to top pages, for example, I love checking out the top pages because it shows me what is working and what this person is known for, right? And I can then determine how might I be able to create something that would potentially outperform, right? So what I look for here is not just the estimated visits. This is based on Google numbers in terms of how many visits this person is getting for that particular page. If you look up my website, you'll notice that there's a lot of stuff related to podcasting, for example. Destiny Show says, that's what I use. Love that tool. Cool. Thank you. But I look at the backlinks because backlinks are essentially votes that in Google's eyes sees, okay, other websites are voting, if you will, to link to this website. That's what a backlink is a link from another person or another company's website to your page or to that particular web page that we're focusing on. And the more backlinks from higher authority places, the better, right? 10 backlinks from authority pages, meaning pages with top authority scores, how is authority determined? By backlinks to those websites, right? So it's sort of this cycle. There's a lot of other components to search engine optimization, from speed of website to number of pages per visit to time on website. Like, these are all important components, but backlinks are definitely up there, and if not at the top in terms of votes. And your domain authority, the authority of your domain, is determined by links from other domains. So 10 higher authority domains pointing to your website is worth more than 1,000 low. And this is not perfect math, but I'm just trying to give you a sense of what's important here. Getting higher authority websites to link to you is more important than getting 1,000 smaller websites to link to you, right? And the idea here is, and of course, we could gamify this as much as possible, but of course, what we want to do is create such valuable stuff that everybody links to it, because that's more natural. The more natural this looks, the better. Back when I started the security guard training website, there were ways to gamify and hack sort of this process. By the way, thank you for those of you letting me know that my Twitter account was hacked this morning. That was a surprise. First time that ever happened. Password was changed. Nothing crazy happened. Nothing bad was tweeted. Just some Bitcoin related things. There seems to be a lot of that going around. So thank you for those of you who notified me this morning about that. We are all clear, which is good. But when it comes to these backlinks, and more that we can determine where these backlinks are coming from for our competition. Again, similar to the Google Alerts, we are able to then go, okay, well, who else is linking? Who might we be able to out relationship and build relationships with? So let's go back into this tool here. Destiny says, "You are teaching my job today." I apologize. This is sort of basic information, right? There are people out there who can do this kind of stuff for you and can give you a personalized analysis on your own stuff. Boris here being one of them, and others too, of course. SEO analysis. So you're here as a resource. Let me know if what I'm saying is right. Feel free, Destiny Show, to add more if you'd like. But again, I'm just going to dive in here a little bit. So look at this. This gives me some really interesting information, right? Check your website's SEO free analysis tool. This has 1,000 backlinks. And this is something, and again, I'm looking at other ones that have a lot of backlinks, and this one is obvious to me why it's the highest number of backlinks, again, being this column here. It's because it's his homepage, right? NeilPatel.com is his homepage. But look at his tool gets 47,000 visits estimated per month, right? This is per month, and 1,169 backlinks. Now I go, okay, well, what's interesting about this? Well, this is a free tool. So now this makes me go, okay, how can I create a free tool? And in fact, one thing that my team and I are doing right now, it's a little bit slow because we came out with SPI Pro. By the way, thank you to those of you who are recently brand new to SPI Pro, and out the second wave of application acceptances today, because certain people who got accepted didn't take up the offer and now are at the back of the wait list now. Anyway, my team and I, we are going to be working on our own tool, a tool that people love to share, hopefully, that will give you some information that is not content, but an application tool. It's a tool. And we can see here on Neil's stuff that his SEO Analyzer, which if I click on this, it'll open it up for us, is really great. So if you're struggling to get more visitors to your website, the answer just might lie in this free report. So if I type in smartpassiveincome.com, likely it'll ask me to subscribe or do some other things like that. Well, I'm already logged in, so that's okay. But you'll see the SEO Analyzer down here. It's interesting because he has landing pages for certain components of this built-in tool that he has. So now it's going to take a few minutes, but we'll see what pops up after that. Of course, I can join his thing to get more information, but that's giving me some information, right? Hey, build a tool, build a quiz, build a calculator, something that can be spread out that a lot of people, especially bigger authorities in the space, may want to link to. And so this is giving me some insight already into part of what's helping Neil's website is this idea of a tool, right? Mike is asking, hey, Pat, how important is SEO in your overall promotion strategy? For me personally, I mean, it's important, right? I would say 25% if I were to consider all the things. It's definitely up there. It's a quarter of the effort in terms of, okay, making sure we hit the right title, we hit the right hook in the beginning to keep people on the page longer, site speed, wayfinding through the website, keywords, and all those kinds of things. We used Yoast's keyword research, our keyword plugin, in order to make sure we hit it all in the right way for each individual article on the blog, and coming up with pillar posts that target certain keywords to try to outrank other people who have content that may not be as meaty and as useful. It's important, obviously. But I would say that, 50% of my time is spent building relationships. And although I fall short on a lot of things that a lot of people say we should be doing, The relationships are why I'm here. The relationships and the serving of others first, and the sharing of information and being open and honest and authentic about how things have gone, win or fail, have allowed me to earn trust with people to then have myself be shared and also be linked to by other websites, which obviously then plays a role in SEO. You see, so this is the approach that I like to take. It's a little bit longer of an approach. I've done the short, quick fire, let's use the right tools, let's link the right things, let's build the right things in and around a website. I once built a private link network, which is totally like you shouldn't be doing that right now. But I was doing some of that stuff to experiment with, and it just felt icky, right? It felt like, well, I was just buying my way here versus, okay, earning my way there, if that made sense. Now, spending money to build these relationships and to, earn these is important too. I'm not saying that this should only be done for free should you have a budget for this. Anyway, let me dive back into here and see if we can analyze Neil's stuff. Neil is, I would consider he's quote unquote competition. Of course, again, like I said earlier, I take the approach of trying to build relationships with these people first versus trying to outrank them, because sometimes it's impossible to outrank certain people in certain ways. And I can see what I can do to sort of be a partner or a compatriot. Compatriot? Is that the right word? Compadre. So anyway, I like this. Let's go back to here so I can zoom in a little bit. Beginner's Guide to Google Webmaster Tools. Affiliate Marketing Made Simple. So he's getting a lot of backlinks to this as well. What's really cool about this tool is I can view all, and I can see where other people are linking from, and the page score and domain score for those pages too. So he's got some stuff on medium.com, right? Now I'm like, maybe I should take some stuff and put it on medium.com. Reddit, Shopify, Google. Now I could upgrade to see more backlinks, but this at least gives me an understanding of the kinds of things that are linking to this particular tool for him. Or this is a step-by-step affiliate marketing guide. And I can tell you, I once outranked Neil for the term affiliate marketing. That's a tool and a keyword that I was tracking. And I noticed that Neil came out with an article on affiliate marketing, this article here, step-by-step guide, which is, check this out, this is a meaty article, right? It gives you a lot of information to just, it's a meaty article. In fact, he has a lot of information on his website about the studies of just meteor articles, not meteor like from the sky, but like meteor articles as in there's content to absorb. People are on the site longer. People are more likely to share articles that have more words, not just random words, but obviously words that are helpful. So this is a very good tool. Let's go to Ubersuggest really quick, the keyword analyzing tool for smart passive income. So I can look at critical errors, broken links, pages that have issues, site speed, those kinds of things. It looks like we're doing okay with site speed for desktop, but mobile not so great in terms of certain components. So I can then create this report and share it with my team to hopefully have some fixes. Now we have over 1,000 backlinks, which is great. Organic keywords, great. Monthly traffic, so-so, in my opinion. It was once higher, but we've suffered a little bit as a result of some mistakes that we made related to some redesigns. Not the latest one, but 2 iterations ago, we made some big mistakes, and we're still recovering from that. Excuse me. Anyway, let's go back to Ubersuggest and see what we can learn from Neil. I can look at some of the ones that have more backlinks as well. Again, remember, a step-by-step guide. A lot of his step-by-step stuff, right? Here's a step-by-step guide on SEO. Here's a step-by-step guide on online marketing made simple. Here is a step-by-step guide on affiliate marketing. So now, even without going to his website, I can see that he has these step-by-step guides. And what I would do here is, knowing these are popular, I'm going to go to neilpatel.com and just get a sense of how we can go into and where these things are mentioned, right? So if I go to blog, for example, training tools, you can see, I like this new design of his. It's almost like a timeline. It's like, I want to learn about, let's see, if I go to, let's go to maybe online marketing. That's pretty cool. I like that, Neil. And he has videos here. He has blog posts. This is pretty cool. Now, part of what I know Neil does is he loves to share his work as he goes along. I mean, look at this. This reminds me of that. I need your help with Ubersuggest, right? So he launched a new product, and now he's asking his audience, and you've heard me talk about this all the time. When you have even a small audience, getting them involved in a process allows people to get excited about it, allows people to want it to succeed because they're a part of it. And of course, when he asks for people to share it, guess what? People share it. And a lot of these things are being spread because he's let people know and let people in on the process too, which is pretty cool. All right, let's go back to Ubersuggest and look at some more parts of this. We can look at Neil Patel's keywords. So let's go to keywords here. And we can see, for example, keywords that he ranks for and the position. So keyword, he ranks for some really good keywords, by the way. Look at this. He ranks for search engines. It's like, what? How? Well, here it is. Neil Patel. It's like this tool, there's other tools that are right. There's one called semrush.com, which you could check out too. I think you also get access to certain things like this. If I go to neilpatel.com, create an account. I am not going to do that right now. I think I actually have, let's see, I might have an account already. Scanning fingerprint, SEMrush. But okay, I think this will work. So Neil Patel, again, similar things. It tells me a little bit of his growth trajectory, keywords that he ranks for, positions that he's in, and also main competitors. What I love about this is it shows you a lot of the competition of these people too. If we go to, let's see, keyword analysis overview, we'll see likely very similar things that we saw to his tool. And it looks like we will have to dig in a little bit deeper. Let's see, keywords here, view all keywords. Yeah, see, this one doesn't seem as useful. These ones all have Neil Patel in them. I wonder if I can subtract, exclude words, Neil Patel. I like using filters like this because then, well, I guess it wouldn't work because Neil Patel is in the domain name. Okay. Well, anyway, Ubersuggest is just neat. It is a little bit more neatly laid out. There's another website out there that I have experimented with before, Similar Web. If you look up Similar Web, this will give you some interesting website and traffic and analytics. Again, it's one of these things that we have to sign up, but let me go here really quick and just type Neil Patel. We're doing a little bit of analysis on Neil Patel's website. And now I can see a little bit of information about Neil's stuff. Again, just another viewpoint with different information. And let's see if I can find what I was looking for here. So top referring websites, top destination websites. I'm looking for websites that are similar. So competitors down here. So here, I like this part of this particular page here on Similar Web. Similar Web is great for, am I an affiliate for 1Password? I'm not an affiliate necessarily, but again, and Jacob here says, I love Similar Web. I love it too, because, and this is my favorite part, I can see who else is related to this person, right? So Neil Patel does compete with, I know, Backlinko, for example, Brian Dean, right? And Brian Dean's stuff is really great. I think this will take me to Brian Dean's stuff. He has some of the most amazing stuff about SEO on YouTube, by the way, for those of you who are interested. And I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to actually look at competitors for Backlinko. We should see Neil Patel there. There's Neil Patel. They all the, Quick Sprout and Ahrefs, Moz. I mean, these are all SEO / ranking type brands that'll help you rank your stuff, and definitely highly recommend each of them. Neil Patel, Backlinko.com. That's Brian Dean, a good friend of mine. We actually spoke on stage together in Portugal a number of years back for the Digital Nomad Conference, which was pretty cool. So anyway, that's a fun tool. There are different ways that you can find these kinds of things on podcasts. And in fact, if you go to podcasts, let's go to podcasts really quick, and you let's look at Smart Passive Income. If you scroll down, actually no, I'm not. I want to browse, and let's look up. Let's see. Smart Pass. Actually, let's look up who else. I think Neil Patel has a website. Or has a podcast. Let's just dive a little bit deeper into his stuff. So here's his podcast, Marketing School. And again, we're doing analysis on our competition right now. I love to see the podcasts that they do. This is a podcast that they come out with, him and his partner, Eric there. Eric, who I think takes the lead on the podcast. But what I also like to see here is this spot down here. You might also like, right? This is the sort of on Amazon. You'll notice that for products, they're like, okay, people who bought this also bought that, right? This is that section within podcasts. I love seeing this here too, because this is just another way that we can dive into. Here's our competition. Where else does our competition's audience lie? And might we have a relationship with some of these people already? This is we can actually have more backlinks coming from people who are authoritative and related to this topic. Google knows, right? Google knows. That's like the theme of the year. Google knows. They know who's talking to who and who has a relationship with who. On YouTube, you see this as well with little clusters of people who always seem to be linking each other's related videos together. And going through the podcast route is great because then sometimes, because a lot of people don't go through this route. A lot of people don't think about this, but I love podcasting. And again, because I've been podcasting for a decade. In fact, this year, this month marks the 10-year anniversary of the Smart Passive Income podcast. How crazy is that? 10 years of the Smart Passive Income podcast. Anyway, you go here, you might also like, and I can see, okay, Neil Patel, marketing school. So there's a few things I can do here. I can go, oh, hey, I have a relationship with Amy Porterfield already. And Amy and Neil, they're sort of related. In fact, you can likely see that sometimes you'll actually see them listed here in hosts and guests here as well, which is pretty cool. Anyway, this just gives me some insight on, okay, where else is Neil Patel's audience? So I might be able to essentially not, I don't want to say take, but infiltrate Eric's audience by going through a relationship I already have with Amy Porterfield. And what's really cool is this can be a way to get into a relationship with Neil and Eric here if I didn't have a relationship with them already, right? I can go through one of these other channels. In fact, if I go to see all, I can see that these brands all have audiences that also listen to, you guessed it, Neil Patel. This is a smart thing to do if you have your own podcast, right?
Many of you know I wrote a book called Superfans.
Whoa. Clicked the wrong button there. Yes, I do listen to my own podcast because I like to analyze it and see what I can do better, see where the boring parts are, see how I might be able to outperform. So let's go back to browse, Smart Passive Income. And I'm going to go to my show. And I like going down here to the bottom, again, in the related show area. So John Lee Dumas, Nick Loper, Rich Dad with Robert Kiyosaki, see all, and I can see these other brands that also share the same audiences as me. This becomes a great starting point to go, okay, what other podcast should I be a guest on, right? This is just sort of a side tip here. But this, I know, has my audience. They listen to some of these. So I can either ask my audience to go, hey, y'all, if you happen to know Chris Guillebeau, hit him up on Twitter and @tag me and let him know that I should be on the show, right? That's a very selfish ask, but that works sometimes. I happen to have a relationship with Guillebeau already, so that kind of works. Or I might be able to reach out to Lewis House and go, hey, Lewis, a lot of my audience listens to your show. A lot of your audience listens to mine. We should collaborate. We should do something together, right? So this is a great way because this starts the conversation. We know that these target audiences overlap, which is pretty cool. And this is where I can go, hey, James, our audiences overlap. Might we be able to do a JV partnership? I have a podcasting course coming out next year, and I'd love for you to, or later in the season, I'd love for you to be a partner in a JV, and I'll give you a special commission or some special bonuses. I'd love to do a webinar for your audience. I'd love to come on as a guest to your show. A lot of these things, which is pretty cool. Pro tip from Boris here. He says, periodically check out AppSumo. As a marketer and SEO, I picked up some hidden gems, including SEO tools that I would otherwise cost $100 a month. Cool. Thank you for that. Yeah, AppSumo has some of the best tools out there that they collaborate with a lot of these tool places and apps to give you some great deals. Let's see what the deal is here. In fact, they don't show you the deals until, I guess there is an agency giveaway right now, which is pretty interesting. Enter the agency giveaway. Let's see. So lifetime access to Beacon, Nifty, SendFox, Find That Lead, Social Monials, Sumo.com, $500 AppSumo credit, and that's pretty cool. So you can win that. And of course, this is likely called King Sumo that they're using to run a contest, which is really neat. Awesome. So let's go back to where were we? SimilarWeb. We were looking at competition. And there's definitely more that we can dive into here. I also like looking at the social stuff because I can see, okay, where is this person most getting some love from, right? And then I can dive into potentially some of these places to see. Actually, that's not helpful to go into Facebook. Global rank, 3rd ranked website in the world. That's pretty crazy. Okay, let's actually put my website here and see what it says. And again, we're on similarweb.com right now. Now, related to these tools, these aren't tools that are going to go, hey, here's where your competition is at, do this. We have to get a little creative and infer certain things that we're seeing here. Is like when we went to Ubersuggest before, remember, and we saw Neil's stuff, and we saw that his a lot of his stuff that was ranking was actually tools. And giving me ideas now that I should be able to create tools specifically for my audience as well. Or a lot of the step-by-step stuff was working for his people. And because our audiences overlap, I should probably be creating a few more step-by-step things as well, if that makes sense. But if we go to backlinks, might we be able to find certain backlinks? So we can see Neil definitely did some work in September, August of 2019 to get more backlinks. And we can see a lot of where these backlinks are coming from as well. I like to filter follow because these are actually what matters. The no follow backlinks, that actually doesn't count in terms of SEO juice, if you want to call it that. Still can count for traffic coming in. But when it comes to links that actually matter for specifically, I also like to click one link per domain so that I get a mix of other things too. So we see GoDaddy has a lot of stuff. Linking, so if I go, I can actually go into these particular articles. So this is on GoDaddy, and then look, Neil Patel is mentioned like legit right there at the top of this page. So it's no wonder that Neil is ranking for certain things like that. Let's go to another GoDaddy situation here. So this is GoDaddy. Let's see where it is. Neil Patel. For example, digital marketing superstar Neil Patel runs his own digital marketing agency. So now he's ranking for, or at least has a hyperlink for, digital marketing agency. So you see how we're sort of diving into, okay, where is our competition mentioned, right? And I think that SEMrush can offer you similar things as well. Let's go to, where was I? Is it here? No, I think I clicked out of it. Oh, SEMrush here. I want to see backlinks. So where might backlinks be here? I'm trying to, is it insights, traffic analysis, check competitors, neilpatel.com. And to get access, yeah, okay, I have to subscribe, which I don't want to do. So Ubersuggest for the win so far. Let's see, a lot of GoDaddy stuff. I thought I hit one link per domain. Oh, I should have it on. There we go. Microsoft is linking to Neil Patel. Reputation management for small businesses. Let's see. Neil Patel. SEO expert Neil Patel's ultimate guide. So this person is linking specifically to creating a positive brand management for online reputation management. Right? So he's just writing stuff that allows other brands, even places like Microsoft, right, do really well. So Neil is definitely obviously tied into a lot of these bigger websites. Let's go into, Adobe.com is linking to him. And whether it's him having relationships with people who are there, and this is a good question from Xavier, by the way. Pat, how much time do you spend on all this effectively? I would say not as much as I could, but again, most of my time is spent building relationships and focusing on what I can do to serve and give value to others. I think a lot of this stuff is important. It also gives me ideas on where I can spend most of my time building relationships. More so than, ooh, this person is doing this. Okay, now we need to do this instead. I like this from a relationship building standpoint, but still an interesting way to dissect a website so that we can go a little bit deeper and figure out what makes sense, if that makes sense. So I would say 2 to 3 hours a month, which isn't that much. You consider, okay, like a half hour week just diving in. And of course, I have my Google Alerts set up and other things such that if there's a mention of one of my competitors on another website, I can dive in a little bit and see how I can out relationship them there. But not a ton of time, And in fact, even just 1 or 2 hours a month can go a long way, at least in helping you understand and inspire you a little bit more in terms of what you can do and where you can go. So let's try smartpassiveincome.com here in terms of a backlink research. So if I go to backlinks, okay, I am on backlinks. So GoDaddy does link to me as well for, and how did this happen? Honestly, I don't know. I didn't even know that this was the thing. So GoDaddy, how to start a podcast. Pat Flynn, yo, equipment. Hey, what am I doing there? I didn't even know that. This was probably before I had a Google alert set up for this kind of thing, but this is great. This is definitely helping me specifically for ranking my #1 page, which is my How to Start a Podcast page. And again, very similar to Neil's stuff, right? How to start a podcast. And I scroll down. You'll see a couple areas where I mentioned here. If the ads, it's funny how the ads get served and then like 5 seconds later, the rest gets served. But here is 2 spots you can find me, a YouTube video, and also this guide here. This is the guide that is being linked to on that GoDaddy page, which was pretty cool. I like that. And honestly, this was just somebody writing this article. They didn't ask me or nothing, which is great. Okay, let's go back in here. The do's and don'ts of website design. This was on DreamHost, but back in 2017. Pat Flynn, Smart Passive Income. Here, website. And let's see who wrote this. Elise. I always try to see like who wrote these because sometimes I can see that I do have a relationship with them. If I do happen to get, and this is why Google Alerts can be really key with this. If you set a Google Alert for your own stuff or for your own domain or your own products, especially, you can obviously with your own products, especially if somebody starts to say some not so great things about it, you can go in and sort of become a part of that conversation. But for things like this, if I had Google Alerts set up for smartpassiveincome.com and I was checking it as much as I should, I would then be able to see, oh, DreamHost linked to me. I'm going to go read the article, and then I'm going to reach out to Elise, who is here at DreamHost writing content for them, and I'm going to thank her. I'm going to build a relationship with her. In fact, the way that I might be able to find this would be to go to, so what I did was I tried to go to Elise, and then sometimes they'll have like the profiles of the people who actually go there. But what I like to do is actually type Elise DreamHost, and I might be able to find, here's her LinkedIn at least, so I can connect with her through LinkedIn. Hey, Elise, thank you so much for writing that article back then. And again, if this happened right away, it would be a great way to develop a relationship much more quickly, if that makes sense. Then, again, remember this article, which mentioned me, was in 2000. Oh, this is the GoDaddy one. The other one was mentioned in 2017, perhaps a little bit too late. But again, I like going into the relationship aspect of these notifications. I can type Twitter here to find Elise's Twitter. So let's see. I don't follow her on Twitter. I can't find her Twitter here. And it might take a little bit of research. Okay, that tweet didn't exist. Here's Elise, same Elise. Right, I think. Is that Elise? Yeah, so if I'm just gonna copy her here. Twitter. Does she have a Twitter? Maybe not. Maybe she's not there anymore, I don't know. Instagram? She real life? Just kidding. Cool. Anyway, that's how I would recommend doing research. I didn't find that person then, but let's go back into Ubersuggest and look up some more articles and how we can find out, where did I put that? This is what happens when you have too many. Come on. There we go. So again, we're looking at backlinks pointing to, or places pointing to smartpassiveincome.com right now. And you can do this for your own stuff to do a lot of the stuff that we're just talking about, or on your competition. Here, woocommerce.com. Let's go to WooCommerce. And look, this looks like an image, which is interesting. That's linking back to my web stuff. Wow, how do we only legit have 4 minutes left? What? That's crazy. All right, let's see. Who were some of the bloggers that you admired from the early days and still follow? Oh, Smart Passive Income. Oh, thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. I've since met the guy and confirmed that he is as nice and as genuine as his blog. Fantastic. So this was, I guess, just an interview on WooCommerce. So now I can go, oh, I didn't even know about this. I happen to know or remember Tom at least, and I can go and reach out to Tom Ewer. Twitter. I can reach out to him. I don't think this is the same Tom. Make sure it's the right Tom, right? Oh, author at Managed WP. Is this the same Tom? Nope, that's not the same Tom. Having trouble finding Tom there, but I can probably find him with a little bit more research, and again, the relationship aspect of this. So I'm using a lot of these tools to find people, right? This is where a lot of people fall short when it comes to these tools. A lot of people use these tools, and it's okay to use these tools to go, okay, let's look at the data, let's see what I can do better, and you should be doing that. But I like to dive into the relationship aspect of this as well. Big info, time flies indeed. We'll have to watch the replay. Great. So hopefully this, and I knew I was going to do this, positioning this as a way to dive into your competition, which we have been doing and discovering more about them, but flipping the script on what's usual and talking about specifically how can we take these mentions and where people are linking to other people's websites and what's working for them and get inspiration for us to either out relationship these people or build tools that can be just as helpful, if not better, right? When it comes to YouTube, very similar, right? If you're going to be creating a video about something, look up who else already has a video about that. See why people are watching that video. They wouldn't be ranking number one if they weren't. And see how you can outperform, outhook them, right? Or find out who else is talking about these things so that you can cross-promote, mention them in your next video, and then use that opportunity to start a relationship with that person too. Francis says, your ears will be ringing. We, Team Flynn, speak highly of you often. Thank you so much. Thanks for the value today. I wrapped him at destination. This was an awesome topic. Going to team replay soon. Fantastic. Team Flynn, thank you so much for today. I appreciate it. This went by so fast, but I'm glad I was able to do some demonstrations. Big shout out to Neil Patel and his Ubersuggest tool and a lot of these other tools that we mentioned. And if anything, at least set up a Google alert for your own stuff so that when you are mentioned somewhere or somebody talks about your stuff, you can go reach out to them, have a conversation with them, and perhaps get some more love later down the road. This is a long-term play. This is a long-term game, and I want you to win in the end. So hopefully this is helpful to you. Thank you so much. Make sure you hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. And lots of good stuff today. Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Appreciate you. Also, for those of you who've been following along on Twitch, my kids and I, we will be going live on Twitch today at 3 p.m. Pacific. 3 p.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/hotcoalsonly. Again, twitch.tv/hotcoalsonly. And we'll be gaming, and I'll be parenting and sharing life lessons along the way with the kids and just hopefully making you laugh at the same time. And we will be having a formal schedule in terms of those because I know it seems sort of random. But 3 p.m. and we're likely going to go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So we just want to create that schedule for us. And hey, well done, everybody. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And as always, Team Flynn for the win. Enjoy your Monday. Get some good stuff done this week.
This is the income stream to help you achieve your dream. All while we keep it clean. This is the income stream. It's the kind of show where you can come and go, but then you leave inspired with no fee required. The income stream with Pat Flynn.
So tomorrow, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, we're back again. Day 131 in a row. Here for you. We're gonna have a new topic in mind. We're gonna dive into it. Most of all, take this, get inspired, take action. I love you. Peace out.
Bruh.